The massive Imperial starship hung in the darkness of space like a predator watching its prey. Inside the command center, High Commander Thex stood with his forearms clasped behind his back, staring at the blue-green planet displayed on the main screen. "Another primitive world," he said, his voice filled with boredom. "Add it to the Empire's collection." The scan officer, a tall insectoid being, clicked his mandibles nervously. "Sir, there's something unusual about this planet." "Unusual?" Thex turned his head, all three of his eyes focusing on the officer. "Explain." "They call it Earth. Their technology appears primitive. Combustion engines, basic space exploration, early fusion power. But their military activity." The officer paused, bringing up new data on the screen. "It's unlike anything we've seen in a pre-space civilization." Thex walked closer to the display, studying the countless dots representing military bases, naval fleets, and air forces spread across the planet's surface. "Interesting. They seem quite fond of fighting each other." In the corner of the command center, the ship's xenobiologist, a small creature with pale blue skin, spoke up. "Sir, I strongly advise caution. These humans show remarkable adaptability. Their short history is filled with rapid technological advancement." Thex waved a dismissive hand. "The Empire has conquered 300 species across 1,000 star systems. One more primitive world poses no threat." He turned to his communication officer. "Send word to the Imperial Council. Request permission to proceed with standard conquest protocol." Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Admiral Gray stood in the hidden command center of the Global Defense Force. The vast chamber, carved into solid rock, hummed with activity as officers monitored screens showing every corner of Earth's space. "They think we can't detect them," Gray said, a slight smile on his weathered face. He pointed to a blip on the main display, far beyond Mars' orbit. "Our quantum sensors picked up their fleet 3 months ago." Lieutenant Reed, a young officer with sharp eyes, studied the data scrolling across his screen. "Their energy signatures match nothing in our database. This isn't a random alien species, it's something bigger." "The Galactic Empire," Gray nodded. "We've been intercepting their communications for years. They control most of this arm of the galaxy." He turned to face the room full of officers. "And now they found us." Commander Marcus's voice came through the communication system from his base on Mars. "All lunar and Martian defense installations are ready, Admiral. Our stealth systems are working perfectly. They have no idea we're here." Gray walked to the central hologram table, where a 3D image of Earth's defense network floated in the air. Thousands of points of light showed the true extent of humanity's military power. Orbital platforms disguised as debris, underground bases, and hidden fleets. "Status of Operation Playing Possum?" he asked. Reed checked his tablet. "Right on schedule, sir. All advanced technology has been hidden. Our visible military forces are displaying only 20th century level equipment. The civilian population has been briefed. Everyone knows their role in the deception." Gray nodded with satisfaction. The plan had been in place for decades, ever since humanity first detected signals from the Empire. While they had publicly continued with traditional rocket technology and simple satellites, the world's nations had secretly united to prepare for this moment. "What about the nanite soldiers?" Gray asked. "Ready and waiting," Reed replied. "The Empire's scans can't detect the enhancements. As far as they know, we're just normal humans." A young communications officer suddenly straightened in her chair. "Sir, the Empire's fleet is sending a message to their capital. They're requesting permission to conquer Earth." She couldn't help but laugh. "They think we're pre-space flight." A quiet chuckle spread through the command center. Gray allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had learned long ago that appearing weak could be the greatest strength. "Let them come," he said, studying the hologram of Earth's defenses. "Let them think we're primitive. Let them think we're easy prey." His eyes hardened. "And when they attack, We'll show them why they should have listened to their xenobiologist. High above, beyond the reach of conventional telescopes, the Empire's fleet waited for orders, unaware that they were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. The hunters were about to become the hunted. The Empire's fleet emerged from light speed in a brilliant flash, their massive ships casting shadows on Earth's moon. 50 warships, each larger than the largest human aircraft carrier, moved into formation above the planet. On the bridge of the flagship, High Commander Thex smiled at the sight of the blue world below. "Begin the standard conquest broadcast," he ordered. "Let's see how quickly they surrender." The Empire's message boomed across every radio frequency, television channel, and digital device on Earth. It played in every language, thanks to the Empire's advanced translation systems. "People of Earth, you are now part of the Galactic Empire. Resistance is pointless. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. Surrender now, and you may serve as loyal subjects. Resist and face destruction." In cities across Earth, people ran through the streets in apparent panic. News channels showed crowds gathering in public squares, military vehicles moving through cities, and world leaders making rushed statements about peace and cooperation. High Commander Thex watched the chaos with satisfaction. "Just like all the others," he said to his officers. "They'll surrender within hours." Deep in the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Admiral Gray watched the same scenes play out on his screens. But he saw what the Empire couldn't, the carefully orchestrated nature of the response. "Perfect," he said. "Every nation is playing their part beautifully." He turned to Lieutenant Reed. "Status of Operation Playing Possum." Reed checked his displays. "All going according to plan, sir." The panicked military responses are drawing their attention exactly where we want it. He pointed to a map showing missile silo locations. "They're particularly interested in our nuclear weapons." "Good." Gray nodded. "They think they're seeing our best defense technology. Little do they know those silos are empty, just pretty targets to distract them from our real weapons." Commander Marcus's voice came through from Mars base. "Admiral, the Empire sensors are trying to scan through the lunar surface. Our stealth fields are holding. They still have no idea about our bases here or on Mars." "Excellent," Gray replied. "Keep monitoring their scan patterns. We need to know exactly what they're looking for." Back on the Empire's flagship, the scan officer reported his findings to High Commander Thex. "Sir, we've detected approximately 10,000 nuclear weapons on the planet's surface. They're most powerful weapons, but completely useless against our shields." He paused, mandibles clicking. "However, there's something odd about their military movements." "Odd how?" Thex asked, his 3 eyes narrowing. "There too. Perfect. Every army is falling back to defensive positions. Every air force is scrambling in textbook patterns. It's like they're following a script." The xenobiologist spoke up from his corner. "Sir, this matches my research on human behavior. They're extraordinarily good at coordinated deception. In their history." "Enough." Thex cut him off. "They're primitives with combustion engines and chemical weapons. Your concerns are noted but unnecessary." He turned to his tactical officer. "Prepare a demonstration strike. Target one of their larger military bases, something impressive but not too destructive. We want them afraid, not annihilated." The tactical officer selected a target, a large Air Force base in the desert, seemingly abandoned in the panic. "Target locked. Sir, firing solution ready." "Excellent." Thex stood straighter, imagining how quickly the humans would surrender after seeing their base destroyed. "Fire when ready." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, alarms flashed as the Empire's weapons powered up. "They're targeting Peterson Air Force Base," Reed reported, "just as we predicted." Gray allowed himself a small smile. "The empty base we specially prepared for them. How convenient." He pressed a button on his command console. "All units, Operation Playing Possum enters Phase 2 on my mark." Around the world, hidden defense systems powered up, remaining invisible to Imperial scans. On Mars and the Moon, stealth hangars prepared to open. And in the Peterson Air Force Base, specially designed quantum technology waited to spring the trap. The Empire was about to learn that appearances could be deceiving, especially when dealing with humans. Now, Gray said quietly, "Let's show them what a primitive species can really do." High Commander Thex watched with satisfaction as the energy beam from his flagship streaked toward Peterson Air Force Base. The bright purple beam lit up the sky, powerful enough to vaporize everything within a mile radius. He expected to see a massive explosion, followed by panicked surrender messages from Earth's leaders. Instead, something impossible happened. Just before the beam hit, a shimmer appeared in the air above the base. The energy weapon struck what looked like an invisible wall and scattered into thousands of harmless light particles. The abandoned Air Force Base stood completely untouched. "What?" Thex roared, all three eyes widening in shock. "Explain this immediately." Before his scan officer could respond, hundreds of objects that Imperial sensors had registered as space debris suddenly came to life. Hidden defense satellites dropped their stealth fields, revealing advanced weapon systems that immediately locked onto the Empire's fleet. "Sir," the tactical officer's voice shook, "energy readings are appearing everywhere. The humans, they have orbital defense platforms." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Admiral Gray stood calmly as he watched the Empire's confusion unfold on his screens. "Launch all lunar and Martian forces," he ordered. "Let's show them what humanity's really been up to." The surface of the Moon rippled as massive hangar doors, previously invisible under advanced stealth technology, slid open. A fleet of sleek human warships emerged, their quantum drives glowing with blue light. From Mars, another fleet appeared, led by Commander Marcus's flagship. "All ships reporting ready," Lieutenant Reed announced. "The Empire's sensors are going crazy trying to process what they're seeing." Gray nodded. "Deploy the nanite-enhanced soldiers. Target their weak points. We've studied their ship designs for years. We know exactly where to hit them." On the Empire's flagship, chaos erupted as new threats appeared from every direction. The scan officer's mandibles clicked rapidly in distress. "Sir, it's impossible. They have bases on Mars and the Moon. Their technology, it's far beyond what we detected." High Commander Thex stared in disbelief as human ships appeared all around his fleet, their designs unlike anything the Empire had encountered. "Open fire. Destroy them all." The Empire's ships launched their most powerful energy weapons, expecting to easily destroy the human vessels. Instead, the beams splashed harmlessly against quantum shields that seemed to bend the laws of physics themselves. "Sir," the weapons officer reported, panic in his voice, "their armor, it's absorbing our energy weapons completely. And their ships are faster than anything in our database." A new voice cut through all Imperial communication channels. Admiral Gray's calm words sent chills through every alien crew member. "You came to our solar system expecting to find easy prey. Instead, you found humanity. We've been watching you for decades, learning your weaknesses, preparing for this day. Now let us show you why your xenobiologist's warnings were correct." As if on cue, small pods launched from the human ships, heading straight for the Imperial vessels. When they hit, they opened to reveal soldiers in advanced combat suits, enhanced with nanite technology that made them stronger and faster than any Imperial warrior. "Boarding parties on decks 3 through 7, an Imperial officer shouted. "They're moving through our defenses like they're not even there." High Commander Thex watched in horror as human ships executed complex maneuvers that should have been impossible, evading every Imperial attack while landing devastating blows of their own. Their weapons weren't just advanced, they were specifically designed to counter Imperial technology. "Status report," he demanded. "Sir, we've lost 15 ships already. Their quantum weapons are bypassing our shields completely. Ground forces report that the military bases we thought were primitive are deploying technology centuries ahead of what we detected. Nothing in our combat doctrine covers this. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Admiral Gray watched as the carefully laid trap closed around the Empire's fleet. Humanity's true power was revealed not just in their advanced technology, but in their ability to deceive, adapt, and strike where the enemy least expected it. "Send word to all ships," Gray ordered. "Execute Operation Checkmate. Let's show the Empire why they should have looked more carefully before declaring war on humanity." The battle in Earth's orbit had turned into chaos, but only for the Empire. Human ships danced between enemy vessels with impossible precision, their quantum engines leaving trails of blue light in the darkness of space. The Empire's rigid battle formations, unchanged for centuries, crumbled against humanity's unconventional tactics. On the bridge of his flagship, High Commander Thex watched another Imperial vessel explode. "How?" he demanded. "How are they predicting our every move?" The tactical officer's hands shook as he worked his console. "Sir, they're using AI-assisted combat systems. Their ship's reactions are too fast for organic pilots." "Impossible." Thex slammed his forehands on the command rail. They were supposed to be primitives. A massive explosion rocked the flagship as a human vessel half its size executed a maneuver that should have torn it apart. The smaller ship had somehow phased through the flagship's shields, fired its weapons point-blank, and vanished again before the Empire's gunners could respond. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Admiral Gray studied the tactical display with satisfaction. "Status report," he ordered. Lieutenant Reed's fingers flew across his console. "Our quantum ships are running circles around their fleet. Their rigid formation tactics are falling apart. The AI combat systems are predicting their moves 5 steps ahead. And our boarding teams." Reed grinned. "The nanite-enhanced soldiers are wreaking havoc inside their ships. The Empire's troops have never seen anything like them. They can't understand how primitive humans are walking through walls and lifting cargo doors with their bare hands." Commander Marcus's voice came through from his ship near Mars. "Admiral, we're detecting communications from the Empire's worlds. Word of the battle is spreading. 3 systems have already declared independence after seeing our footage." Gray nodded. Everything was going according to plan. "Begin Phase 4, he ordered. "Show them what Earth's special forces can really do." Inside an Imperial cruiser, a squad of Empire soldiers fired desperately at an approaching human warrior. Their energy weapons splashed harmlessly off the soldier's armor as nanites repaired any damage instantly. The human moved with impossible speed, crossing the corridor in a blur. "Demon!" one alien screamed before the human knocked him unconscious with a casual tap. The human soldier activated his comm. "This is Strike Team Alpha. We've secured the engine room. These guys still think their energy weapons should hurt us. They haven't figured out our suits absorbed their attacks for power." Similar reports came in from across the Empire's fleet. Human boarding teams, enhanced by technology that the Empire had dismissed as impossible for a primitive species, systematically disabled ship after ship. High Commander Thex stared in horror as his tactical display showed more red lights, disabled or destroyed Imperial ships. His fleet had lost formation completely, each ship fighting for survival against enemies that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. "Sir," the communications officer's voice cracked. "We're detecting quantum communication signals between their ships. They're not using standard channels. That's why we missed their coordination." Another explosion rocked the ship. The damage control officer screamed. "They've taken out our main power core. How did they know exactly where to hit us?" The answer appeared on their main screen as Admiral Gray's face appeared on every display in the Imperial fleet. "We've studied your ships for decades," he said calmly. "Every weakness, every flaw in your designs. While you saw what you expected to see, a primitive world, we were watching, learning, and preparing." As if to emphasize his words, a human ship suddenly appeared directly in front of the flagship, somehow bypassing all their remaining sensors. Its weapons powered up, glowing with energy that made the Empire's best technology look like children's toys. Your empire's greatest weakness, Gray continued, was your arrogance. You never considered that we might be hiding our true capabilities, that we might be letting you see exactly what we wanted you to see. Thex watched helplessly as more human ships emerged from quantum space around his surviving vessels. They had lost over 40 ships now, and the humans hadn't lost a single one. The Empire's mighty conquest fleet was about to learn its final lesson about underestimating humanity, and it would be a painful one. The Empire's mighty fleet had been reduced to a shadow of its former self. Of the 50 warships that had arrived to conquer Earth, only 20 remained operational, and even these were heavily damaged. The space around Earth was filled with debris from destroyed Imperial vessels, while every human ship remained untouched. High Commander Thex stood on his flagship's bridge, his proud posture now broken. The ship's alarms blared as more systems failed, and reports of human soldiers advancing through the decks kept coming in. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "we've lost all offensive capabilities. Our shields are at 12%, and," he hesitated, 17 more worlds have declared independence after seeing the battle footage. Thex's 3 eyes widened. Battle footage? What battle footage? The communications officer looked up from his console, terror on his face. The humans, they've been broadcasting everything. They hacked our entire network. Every world in the Empire has been watching us fail. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Admiral Gray watched the Empire's fleet retreat. Lieutenant Reed worked at his station, monitoring the transmission of the battle across the Empire's networks. "Sir," Reed reported, "our quantum eye has cracked their entire communication system. Every species under their control has seen what happened here. The Empire's reputation for invincibility is shattered." Commander Marcus's hologram appeared in the center of the room. "Admiral, our forces have secured all disabled Imperial ships. Their technology will be useful, though it's centuries behind ours." Gray nodded. "Send our message to their capital. Let's make sure they understand exactly what happened here." In the Empire's capital, the High Council watched in stunned silence as Admiral Gray's message played on their screens. The human stood calmly, no hint of arrogance in his bearing despite his victory. To the Empire's High Council, Gray began, "You sent your fleet to Earth expecting to find primitive beings ready for conquest. Instead, you found humanity at its finest, united, prepared, and far more advanced than you imagined." The message showed clips from the battle. Human ships executing impossible maneuvers, nanite-enhanced soldiers walking through walls, and Imperial weapons being absorbed by quantum shields. "We could have revealed ourselves years ago," Gray continued. "We could have struck first. But we chose to wait, to let you show your intentions, and you proved exactly what we suspected, that your empire is built on bullying those you think are weaker than you." Back on the flagship, Thex received new orders from the Council. His hands trembled as he read them. "All ships," he broadcast to his remaining fleet, "we are ordered to withdraw immediately." "The Council," he swallowed hard, "the Council is declaring Earth's solar system forbidden territory." As the Empire's ships limped away, their retreat was anything but dignified. Behind them, human vessels maintained a watchful formation, their quantum weapons still ready. Admiral Gray's final message echoed through every Imperial communication channel. "Remember this day. Remember that humans are not what we seem. We're not trapped in our solar system. We chose to stay here, watching, learning, preparing. You weren't hunting us. We were studying you." 3 days later, the Empire's High Council issued an unprecedented galaxy-wide warning. "Let it be known to all species in the galaxy. The solar system containing the planet Earth is hereby declared absolutely forbidden territory. The beings known as humans are not to be approached, challenged, or provoked in any way. They are not primitive. They are not weak. They are something far more dangerous. They are patient hunters who have mastered the art of deception." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Admiral Gray read the warning with satisfaction. On his screens, he could see the effects spreading across the galaxy. The Empire's subject worlds, emboldened by humanity's victory, were declaring independence one after another. The balance of power was shifting. "Sir," Lieutenant Reed said, looking up from his station. "What now?" Gray smiled slightly. Now we wait. The galaxy knows we're here, knows not to threaten us. And when the Empire finally collapses under its own weight," he looked at the star map showing hundreds of newly independent worlds, "then we'll help build something better." The Empire had come to Earth expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant and changed the galaxy forever. Humanity's age of isolation was over, and the stars themselves would never be the same. 1 year after the Empire's defeat, Earth had changed. The once hidden advanced technology now operated in plain sight. Quantum ships moved openly between Earth, Mars, and the Moon, their blue engines painting trails across the night sky. Humanity no longer needed to pretend to be primitive. Admiral Gray stood at the window of the new Global Defense Headquarters, watching a massive starship under construction in orbit. Unlike the sleek warships they had used against the Empire, this one was built for peaceful exploration. "The Unity will be ready for launch next week," Lieutenant Reed said, walking up beside him. The young officer had been promoted after the battle but still served as Gray's right hand. "She's the first of our long-range exploration vessels." Gray nodded. "And the diplomatic requests?" "Still coming in daily, sir. 47 former Imperial worlds have asked for alliance talks. They're all impressed by how we handled the Empire, but even more impressed by how we didn't pursue them when they retreated." On the other side of the galaxy, the Empire's capital world was a shadow of its former self. The Grand Palace, where the High Council had once ruled 1,000 systems, now oversaw barely 200. The council chamber, once filled with arrogant voices planning conquests, was quiet and subdued. "Another system has declared independence," one council member reported. "They're calling themselves the Free Worlds Alliance now. Most of them have opened diplomatic channels with Earth." The head counselor, who had replaced the one who ordered Earth's conquest, sighed heavily. "And the humans? They've made no aggressive moves. Their ships stay within their solar system, just as they did before." But the council member brought up a holographic display. "They're building something big. Our long-range scans show it's some kind of exploration vessel." Back in Earth orbit, Commander Marcus's ship docked with the space station. He had been appointed as the captain of the Unity, and this would be his final briefing before the historic mission. In the station's conference room, he met with Admiral Gray and representatives from a dozen former Imperial worlds. The aliens sat comfortably among the humans, no longer enemies but potential allies. "The Unity's mission is simple," Gray explained to the gathered diplomats. "We will visit each of your worlds, not as conquerors like the Empire, but as friends. We'll share some of our technology, help establish defenses against Imperial retaliation, and begin building a new galactic community." An alien diplomat, his crystalline body shimmering in the station's lights, spoke up. "But why help us? You proved you could defeat the Empire. You could conquer us all." Gray smiled. "Because that's not who we are. Yes, we can fight when needed. Yes, we hid our true nature when we had to. But humans don't dream of conquest. We dream of exploration, of discovery, of making new friends among the stars." In the orbiting shipyard, the Unity received its final touches. The massive vessel contained not just quantum engines and advanced defensive systems, but also laboratories, diplomatic facilities, and cultural exchange centers. It represented humanity's true face, not the deceitful warrior that defeated the Empire, but the curious explorer hoping to make peace. Lieutenant Reed reviewed the final launch preparations with the engineering team. "All systems are green. The quantum core is stable, and the AI networks are online. She's ready." A message flashed across his screen. Another Imperial world had declared independence, but this time They didn't just break away from the Empire. They were asking for humanity's help in building a new future. Admiral Gray stood in the Rocky Mountain Command Center one last time. The facility, once hidden and secret, now served as a training center for joint human-alien operations. In the corridors outside, beings from a dozen worlds learned to work together. "Sir," Reed called from his station, "the Unity reports ready for launch. Commander Marcus awaits your final orders." Gray looked at the massive screen showing the galaxy map. Where once they had watched the Empire's movements in secret, now they saw a galaxy filled with possibility. The Empire's mistake had changed everything. Not just for humanity, but for all species who dreamed of freedom. "Send the launch codes," Gray ordered. "Tell Commander Marcus to proceed. It's time to properly introduce ourselves to the galaxy." As the Unity prepared to leap into quantum space, carrying hopes for a better future, one thing became clear. The Empire's greatest mistake hadn't been attacking Earth. It had been forcing humanity to reveal that there was more than one way to be strong in the galaxy. 5 years had passed since the Empire's fateful mistake. The galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. The Unity's successful mission had sparked a chain reaction that reshaped galactic society. Now, a new ship, twice as large, prepared for its maiden voyage. Admiral Gray, his hair now fully white, but his eyes as sharp as ever, stood on the bridge of the Harmony, humanity's newest and largest vessel. Around him, the bridge crew included not just humans, but beings from 15 different species, all working together seamlessly. Final systems check complete. Lieutenant Reed, now Captain Reed, reported from his position as first officer. "All stations report ready." Gray nodded, looking at the massive view screen showing Earth below. The planet had become a beacon of hope in the galaxy, its orbital rings glowing with the light of countless ships from dozens of worlds. On Mars, Commander Marcus, now Fleet Admiral Marcus, oversaw the Galactic Defense Academy, where species from across the galaxy trained together. In one of the main simulation chambers, a young Imperial cadet worked alongside a human student, their previous enmity forgotten. "Remember," Marcus told the assembled cadets, "the greatest weapon isn't our quantum technology or our nanite enhancements. It's our ability to work together, to learn from each other, to become stronger than we could ever be alone." The Academy had become famous for teaching what humans call the Earth Doctrine, the idea that true strength came not from conquest, but from cooperation and mutual growth. Back in what remained of the Empire's territory, the High Council received a report that made them tremble. Their last attempt to rebuild their military had failed, not through force, but through choice. Their own people were choosing to leave, attracted by the prosperity of the new human-led alliance. "We should have listened to the xenobiologist," one council member said bitterly. "He warned us about humans, but none of us understood what he really meant. We thought he was warning about their technology, their deception. But their real power was something else entirely." Their real power, another member added, was their ability to turn enemies into friends. The Harmony moved gracefully out of Earth orbit, its quantum engines humming with power. Unlike the warships of 5 years ago, this vessel carried no weapons. Instead, it housed the most advanced medical facilities, research laboratories, and cultural exchange centers ever built. Gray walked through the ship's central promenade, where beings from across the galaxy mingled freely. A group of former Imperial scientists worked with human researchers, combining their knowledge to solve problems that had plagued both societies for centuries. "Admiral," a voice called. Gray turned to see the same xenobiologist who had warned the Empire about humans 5 years ago. Now he served as the ship's chief science officer, having defected shortly after the battle. "The long-range sensors have detected something interesting," the xenobiologist said, his blue skin shimmering with excitement. "Signs of intelligent life, beyond the Empire's former borders. A civilization we've never encountered before." Gray smiled. plot a course. But this time, we'll do first contact the right way. In the ship's quantum communications center, Captain Reed monitored messages from across the galaxy. Reports came in hourly, new medical breakthroughs from combined research teams, successful cultural exchange programs, and the latest group of worlds joining the Alliance. "It's amazing," Reed said to Gray. 5 years ago, we were hiding our technology, preparing for war. Now we're leading the galaxy into a new age. "That's because we remembered who we really are," Gray replied. "We proved we could fight if needed, but we chose to build instead. That's humanity's true strength, not our ability to win wars, but our drive to make things better." The Harmony accelerated to quantum speed, its massive form disappearing into the fabric of space-time. Behind it, the galaxy continued to change. The Empire's remaining worlds were now asking to join the Alliance peacefully. The age of conquest was over. In the end, humanity's greatest victory hadn't been defeating the Empire in battle. It had been showing the galaxy a better way forward. The Empire's mistake had forced humans to reveal their true nature, not just as clever warriors who could hide their strength, but as builders of bridges between worlds. As the Harmony carried its message of cooperation to new stars, one truth became clear: the galaxy's future would be written not by those who sought to conquer, but by those who dared to reach out and turn ancient enemies into new friends.